Something that I'm realizing about today's church culture and Christian culture is this phenomenon I'm labeling Christian exceptionalism. It's no wonder we have American exceptionalism, because it's come out of Christian exceptionalism. So this is really interesting, guys. I talk to Christians, especially on social media, and some Christians will say, oh, it's because I belong to the right church. And I'm like, oh, okay, what is the right church? Oh, the Catholic Church. Oh, no, it's the Eastern Orthodox, because they have this line of succession from the apostles. Oh, no, it's the Protestant church, because they have really come to the truest form of church, right? Or it's, well, we have the right truths, we have the right theology. And of course, then, church to church, guys, it's different. Theologically, there's a great diversity, right? So you have this universal concept of Christian exceptionalism, but when you dig into the details, Christian to Christian, church to church, denomination to denomination, it's defined widely different. But the basic idea is we're the right kind of Christian. Christians are the right kind of people, and we're the right kind of Christian in the right kind of church with the right denomination, with the right theology. And of course, then if you're a Christian that doesn't line up with all of those things, you're okay. You're not as good, but you're better than non-Christians, but you're not as good as my kind of Christian. Right? And of course, if you're a progressive Christian, you might look down on Christians that hate the LGBTQ community. And so your Christian exceptionalism includes being affirming, right? But then you've taken something, an element of your faith, and made it a central litmus test for other Christians. What's wrong with that? You don't decide what makes a good Christian. But guys, this is a delusion that the church has been indulging for hundreds, if not thousands of years. Ever since the Second Council of the patristic period, they ratified the Nicene Creed, and they said, if you do not agree with this set of orthodoxy, you will be kicked out of church. Eventually, they decided if you didn't agree with that set of orthodoxy, you could be killed. And they did start killing people. This was the Catholic Church's stance. It all began with the First Council of Nicaea, where they created the Nicene Creed. So for the last 1,500 years, guys, we've been indulging in the delusion of Christian exceptionalism, which is, if you're not this kind of Christian, you're not as good. And certainly if you're not a Christian, you're not good, of course. But we have made our own set of beliefs, theologies, creeds, practices, our own church liturgies, our own church identity, a litmus test for who is the right kind of Christian. We have put ourselves on the seat of God to judge people concerning their faith. Well, that's a sin. That is rightly defined as idolatry and as blasphemy of the Holy Spirit. Blasphemy means to reject the Holy Spirit, to reject the role of the Holy Spirit, to reject what the Spirit does, to try to usurp what the Spirit does. That's idolatry and blasphemy. Of course, there's grace for all of our sins, guys, but how offended do you think God is giving you grace and then seeing you turn around and take to task your brother for his offenses, when God has forgiven you so much and yet you won't forgive your brother so little? Jesus told a parable about that, guys, about a king who forgave a servant who wouldn't forgive his fellow servant. And he gave that parable to illustrate how offensive it is to God, who forgave us of not being like him in every way, when we won't forgive our brother and sister for not being like us in small ways. What is Christian exceptionalism? It is the idea that I am right, and what I think is right, and how I view things are right, and the sins that I say are bad, and the sins that I say are okay, and I am the litmus test for every single person in the world, Christian, non-Christian. That's Christian exceptionalism. It's unbiblical. It is idolatry. It's blasphemy. It is offensive to God. And you got to recognize it and get out of it, guys. Okay? Whew. All right. That's all I got to say about that.
Your love, your love, your love, your love. Babe, it's not a big deal, you're not special. Babe, stop thinking you're special. Your love, your love, your love, your love. Babe, it's not a big deal, you're not special. Babe, stop thinking you're special. Your love, your love.